What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the YouTube channel Stoutt Fitness. I am your host, Julien Stoutt. I'm a world record powerlifter. I am a licensed PE teacher, and I am a certified personal trainer using mindset, encouragement, accountability, and nutrition to help you be the best you. Today is my video reaction day. I'm going to react to some videos that I have saved inside of Instagram that I've seen in Instagram, so that way I can help you navigate through some of the stuff that I see on there, comment on it, give you some insight. All right, especially when it comes to fitness. So the first one that I'm going to put on here is this right here. Let me move this around a little bit so that you guys can see it. And first one I'm going to play is this one here.
Don't train to lose weight. Don't train for a six-pack. Don't train for a big booty. Don't train for a pump chest. Train to play with your kids when you're older. Train to pick up your groceries comfortably. Train to walk up the stairs by yourself. Train for good posture. Train to prevent injuries. Train to manage your anxiety. Train to walk without a cane when you're older. Train to sit and stand up without anyone's help. Train to be independent for as long as possible. Train for the bigger picture, the real goal. And if you do, aesthetics will follow. Don't train to...
Okay. Everything that's said in this video, I firmly believe in. I train to look my absolute best for as long as I can. And when I say my absolute best, I know there's better. But I train for that reason, so that way when I am actually in my advanced ages, because I'm in my middle ages now. So when I'm in my advanced ages, I want to be competent for as long as I can be competent for, as opposed to just simply just existing and waiting for the Grim Reaper to come get me. The Grim Reaper is going to have to move faster to get me, because I'm not going to just simply lay down and wait for him to catch me. That's pretty much the gist on that. So the aesthetics will follow if you're just simply training to be more capable. A lot of people focus on the wrong things when it comes to their training. Either they want to move the mountains or move the building or squat the building, and then in the process they want to have everything come at them all at once, when the truth is that it comes over time. It presents itself over time. And as a result, if you're doing the right things, everything else will follow. You don't have to train to lose weight. You'll just simply lose the weight if you're training properly, and if you're focused on your nutrition properly. It'll just happen, but it'll happen over time. It doesn't happen overnight. Your strength gains, your physique changes happens over time. And your body, the way your body looks, is a physical representation of the investments that you have put into yourself long term. So when people see that you're in shape, that means you are telling them that you have put in the time, work, and effort it takes for you to be successful. Let's move on.
How to burn belly fat.
So let's say you finish your dinner at 7 p.m. At 8 p.m., you start fasting. By 12 o'clock, your blood sugar is normalized. By 2 a.m., your insulin levels drop. And by 4 a.m., your glucagon goes up. Glucagon and insulin are two hormones in your body that help with fat burning. So when this is high and this is low, you're burning fat. And when your glucagon's low and your insulin's high, you're burning carbs.
Okay, I'm going to stop right here. There's no truth to this exactly, because number one, glucagon is responsible for releasing sugar into your bloodstream. All right, so other parts of your body can use it, particularly, especially when it comes out, it makes you release it out of your liver. It means when glucagon is happening, that means your body has little to no sugar left in it, right? And yes, body fat, and yes, fat burning will in fact happen because there's minimal resources going on. But that's typically when you're asleep. When you're awake, you're going to be in fat burn mode as long as you're activity level is not intense. Does that make sense? As long as your activity level is not as intense, you will burn fat as opposed to sugar, because your body will then go into hybrid mode. So your primary fuel is glucose, period, full stop. However, fat is your alternative fuel when you are in scarcity. And what you don't want to do is find yourself to be where you're so low in blood sugar that you cease to function, because you will die. Body fat will be taken away, but it's not as simple as you're fasting, because as long as you're fasting and as long as there's no intense exercise happening during your fasting period, chances are you're going to be able to function. Hakeem Olajuwon is a devout Muslim, and during the month of Ramadan, they go a long time without eating. And ironically, Ramadan happens particularly during the NBA playoffs. And it is well documented that Hakeem Olajuwon went through struggles during that time because his nutrition became compromised. So your body fat will, I can't even really put it into words. Your body fat will be digested if you fast, but it's not that simple as, oh, it will just go away simply because you fasted. And the whole thing about insulin going up, you're burning carbs. You're not burning carbs, you're storing them. That's the misnomer there. You don't burn carbs when insulin production goes up. You are storing carbs when your insulin levels go up. Your insulin is literally driving sugar into your muscles and into your liver at that time. It is preparing for activity. Eating should be a preparation for activity, or a preparation to sustain action while you are in activity or in some sort of mental challenge at that point. You should, because your brain runs on glucose. Brain runs on nothing but glucose, and your body will do any and everything in its power to make glucose, and that includes stripping your muscles, which means you have to be very careful about how you fast, because maybe you might find yourself in a position where your muscle or your amino acid pool is going to be diminished as a result of your fasting instead of body fat loss. All right. So it's not as simple as they're making it, but let's continue.
This is if you had a healthy meal. If you had pasta and pizza and high carbs and alcohol, that's not going to happen.
If you had carbs, period, it's not going to happen. If you've eaten carbs, none of this is going to happen at that time, because your glucagon levels are going to go up, especially spike higher, because your glycemic index increased. Therefore, your body is going to find itself needing to drive more carbohydrates into your muscles if there's room. However, if there's no room, what you actually have done is you've created body fat instead of burning it. Or I should say, you've created more body fat instead of utilizing the energy that is in your body, so your glucagon levels will go up, therefore increasing your blood sugar, because of the fact that you have to release sugar into your blood from your muscles and your liver, as opposed to simply not.
Now, when you wake up at 7 a.m. and you just started with a carb breakfast like this, your insulin goes back up, glucagon goes back down, the hunger kicks in, you crave more food.
Glucagon does go down. Insulin levels do go up when you eat in the morning. However, craving food is only a thing if you're eating foods that are designed to make you crave more food. Like, for instance, high salty foods makes you crave more water. high sugar foods does not make you crave more sugar right away. It craves more sugar after your insulin levels have dropped. And if your insulin levels don't stabilize, then you get hungry. All right? So, and the way you stabilize your insulin levels is to keep a steady flow of carbohydrates into your body, not a spike and then a crash. What he's talking about is that you're going to crave more food because of the choices of foods you made, not the fact that you ate. And in particular, he spoke of high carbohydrate foods. Well, that's partially true. When he talked about pasta and alcohol, well, alcohol will immediately convert everything you eat into fat if you have alcohol in your system at the time of food consumption, because your body's liver is trying to process too many things at once and is going to prioritize detox before it prioritizes digestion and elimination. So that in of itself is a little bit different. So let's keep going.
End up eating even more calories. Now, if you just fast around 11.
So I'm going to keep this. So let's say 2 a.m. insulin levels drop. Glucagon, 4 a.m. glucagon goes up. So he's saying within 2 hours of your insulin levels dropping, your glucagon levels will increase. Well, I say that happens simultaneously as your insulin levels drop and your insulin levels drop doesn't mean that there's no blood sugar in your body. Glucagon only increases when your body detects that your blood sugar is dropping and you have the sufficient blood sugar, I should say the sufficient glycogen stored in your body for your liver and your muscles to release it anyway. So in other words, you have to have eaten. So he says 7 a.m., you get up, you fast. All depends on your activities. See, a lot of times people don't realize it all depends on your lifestyle. I teach PE in the morning. My students need to eat. They have to. There's no fasting for them. Number one, their bodies are going through so many changes at that time. Your bodies are going through so many changes at that time. It is not practical for them to avoid breakfast, because avoiding breakfast is going to put them in a medical emergency. Far too many times, people, I'm telling you, you could ask my clients, you could ask my students, I guarantee you, they'll tell you every time that they go and try to play or they try to exercise, work out during a period of fasting, their performance levels drop, which means their ability to actually burn fat decreases as well. Therefore, it is not that simple as simply fasting for another 4 hours, 4 to 5 hours. Therefore, you have burnt belly fat. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but what I'm saying is that what happens is that you have to be mindful about your activity levels and when is it smart for you to fast. For instance, for me, it would be better for me to fast in the evening as opposed to fasting in the morning, because from morning until evening, I am on the go. I'm constantly moving. I can't afford to be in a brain fog. I cannot afford to be in a physical drought. So therefore, I need to eat in the mornings. I can fast in the evening when I get home, and once I'm home, I don't have to eat. And when I'm home, I'm up for an additional 4 hours. So there's 4 hours where I'm not eating. Once I'm home, I don't eat anymore. I don't have to eat. Or unless I didn't eat in a period of time while I was working, or once I was done working out, I didn't eat. When I get home, I do have to eat again. However, it's all about food timing. It's not that simple.
Well, you got an extra 4 to 5 hours of fat burning. And if you control the dinner where
Dinner's at 7. So basically from 7 to 7, you're fasting. And then again for another 5 hours. So therefore, you're fasting for 16 hours. I'm not saying that that's not possible, and I'm not saying that that's not something anybody should or shouldn't do. I'm saying that you have to be mindful. From 7, depending on what you ate, from 7 to 10, if you ate a high carbohydrate meal, from 7 to 10, your blood sugars are going to be high. Your insulin is going to force sugar into the muscles, therefore decreasing your blood sugar, therefore putting your body in a position of homeostasis at first. And then when your body starts to use up all the sugar that's left in your bloodstream, then it will ask the muscles and the liver to release more glycogen through, or I should say glucose, through glucagon being released. So therefore, let's say glucagon release happens at 5 o'clock. No, I mean 5 hours. I'd say, yeah, in about 5 hours, glucagon kicks in. If it's high glycemic, it'll probably take 3 hours for that to happen. So let's say in the 5th hour, so by midnight, if you ate at 7, by midnight, your glucagon levels will be on the go. So your sleep, hopefully. But I know people who wake up out of their sleep to go eat because their body is waking them up because they're hungry. But if you can sleep, this all will happen. But I promise you, if you have any major activities to do in the morning, especially if you like to work out in the morning, 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning, you're not going to avoid eating at this time. I promise you, you can't. Your performances is going to be terrible, and you might as well just not be bothered. All right, let's continue.
FFP, your insulin levels will come down faster and your glucagon levels will go up faster. Now, if you follow the FFP rule with every meal,
Fiber, fat, protein. Okay, now it's starting to make sense. If you have fiber mixed in with some fat and some protein, this will happen because of gluconeogenesis. And as a result, gluconeogenesis, you won't need to inspire your body to have more glucose in it because your body's going to convert many of the proteins that you've eaten into a carb. But it won't increase it to the level of, it won't be a high glycemic level carb. So therefore, maybe this might actually work in some way, but you have to eat a crap ton of protein, a crap ton of fiber, and medium chain triglycerides. This will help in that regard. Yes. Now that I understand what the catalyst behind it is, I'd say it will work a little bit. But let's continue.
now you become a fat burning machine. You're not hungry, your cravings are gone, mentally you're not crashing, and you can do all of this without counting calories. And you could probably maintain a calorie deficit because you're not hungry.
How to burn.
Okay. So now that he's explained that, yes, there's a high probability chance that you can do this now because you're constantly ingesting protein and ingesting fat as opposed to ingesting carbs, which sounds more like, you guessed it, the Atkins diet. And everybody does use some variation of this when they're trying to lean out. However, it is not always necessary. Let's continue. Oh.
The nigga.
Oh, wow. What you just saw was this young lady basically hit the deck. So I'm going to hit play it again because I don't want to go through the commentary. So she pulled on the top of the machine. She's pulling down as she's getting ready, but her pulling down on it put her in a compromised position, and then the machine failed. I hate to be the owner of that gym because there's some medical bills going to have to be paid here. All right. Let's look at this one.
My quad tendon.
Okay. First of all, We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 45-pound plates. If I'm not mistaken, let's start that over. I'll count them out. All right, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 45-pound plates, plus a 10 on each side. So let's go 5. That's 450. 450 plus another 90. We're looking at 530. So we're looking at 550 pounds. Now, this is a big guy. This guy's no small potatoes, all right? But here's the problem. Knees aren't wrapped. He's got his back protected, but his knees aren't protected. And then on top of that, when he went down, there was no control. All right? I'm going to start it over again so that way you can see it again. Pay attention.
My quad tendon.
He just went down, putting immense stress. So this is part of the reason why the heavier the weight, the slower your descent. Your eccentric load should be slow, obscenely slow when the weight gets heavy, because you should be engaged as you go down. You shouldn't disengage and then re-engage at the point of impact, or I should say at the point of tension. The point of tension is when the maximum amount of force is being applied to your joints and also to the tendons of the muscles involved in the movement. It's part of the reason why high explosive movements always are guaranteed an injury if you're moving at the highest point of tension. If you're exploding through the highest point of tension, you'll never find yourself in a position where you're not going to injure yourself potentially at all times. Whereas moving with control and exploding in shorter periods where there's no high level of, what's the word I'm looking for? There's no high level of tension in the muscle because you were already tense to begin with, right? 550 pounds is a lot of weight to be putting on anybody's knees. And the high point of tension, he tore his quad. All right. No, he's not. All right. So, no. Guys, that's the end of the video. I appreciate your time with me. Hopefully you learned some things. Hopefully I've helped you dispel some myths or helped you understand how things are progressing when it comes to these videos on Instagram and also on YouTube. But for me, I would like to thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and on YouTube. Have a nice day and be the best you.